So in today's video, we are tackling two of the beauty community's biggest hot button issues, namely how to properly apply sunscreen and what benefit, if any, sunscreen has in cosmetics. And secondly, do we actually need any more bronzing drops? So the second of those is a little tongue-in-cheek, but I did want to really explore the brand Ciele, and this is their Bronze and Protect SPF 50 Bronzing Concentrate. So I have all of the Ciele products minus their brushes that they have released to date. So I'll be showing you all of those on my face and just kind of exploring a little bit about, again, what benefit SPF in these products might have. I should mention at the outset that I'm not a dermatologist, I am not a cosmetic chemist, so this video is all about my experience as a consumer and what I've learned from people who are cosmetic chemists and medical professionals whose expertise I trust. So just jumping in here, I did do my skincare several hours ago at this point, so you can see I'm a little bit kind of shiny in my forehead area. I would say I have drier skin. I'm starting to wonder if I'm actually a little bit more combo, and I know it's the height of summer, it's mid-July. We just had a stretch of like 100-degree days in the DC area. So my skin is probably at its oiliest, if you will, but I have kind of retooled my skincare routine recently because I was using the CeraVe moisturizing cream for a few days as a moisturizer, and I think it really kind of clogged my pores. So I went through a period of just trying to remedy that over the last week or so, and you can see I still have some kind of residual marks and everything that I'm trying to clear up, but as James Welsh says, skincare is progress, not perfection, to paraphrase, so we're going with it. But I did want to kind of tie that back to Ciele because the founder of the brand, I believe her name is Nikki DeRoost, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let's see here.
Hey, it's celebrity makeup artist Nikki DeRoost. I am here in New York and just in time for summer.
Okay, so that was a little reel I just played a snippet from on her Instagram, and I will come back to that in a moment. But before I apply her Tinted Serum, so this is a serum, is what it's called, and it is an SPF 50 sunscreen. I have it in the shade 01 Ivory, and at least on the package it calls it a tinted serum. It doesn't call it a foundation, but anyway, just to give at least the lower half of my face a little bit of help, I'm going to use the Clinique Moisture Surge face spray. It's always a bad idea to open your mouth after you spray something. It never tastes good. But if I didn't finish my thought, Nikki says that all of her Ciele products are non-comedogenic, which means they are not supposed to clog your pores and cause acne, because I guess she did have acne at some point in her life. To go back to what I was talking about CeraVe, if you've seen any of my kind of empties videos, I will typically go in with a fairly heavy moisturizer, at least at night and especially during the winter. One that has like shea butter, jojoba oil, that kind of thing. I've recently kind of, like I said, revamped my skincare routine. And there's a website I heard about from Tiffany D on YouTube. She's more of what I would call a legacy creator. She's been around for many years at this point. And yeah, I just happened to watch, I think it was her Nordstrom haul from the anniversary sale, and she was talking about a website called ClearStem, where, much like the Paula's Choice Beautypedia page, which I reference a lot, you can copy and paste ingredients and put it into a little box and then hit submit, and it will show you if there's any ingredients they deem to be comedogenic. How much weight you want to give that is really up to you. But I've been kind of going through my skincare and trying to just use products that don't have any ingredients that they flag. I don't think their website is necessarily foolproof, but they do have a full list of ingredients if you want to use that to help guide your skincare purchasing decisions. And to tie it back to Ciele, I did plug in these ingredients into that website, and I think there was one ingredient that they flagged. I want to say it was hexylene glycol, perhaps. I will maybe put it on the screen. But again, how much weight you want to give that and whether an ingredient like that is likely to be of issue to you, it's hard to say. But anyway, yeah, it says right here, non-comedogenic. It is mineral SPF. I think all of their products are mineral SPF. And because I have rosacea, I try to only use mineral SPFs, is my personal preference. So this says shake well and apply liberally and evenly before sun exposure. So this is zinc oxide 12% is the active that's going to give you the sun protection. And on the back here it says makeup meets protection, and this is made in the US. Yeah, I haven't tried this out before. I had tried their powder, which I'd purchased a while ago. And I will note, because we're dealing with these kind of hybrid skincare and makeup products, I've had luck in some cases getting my FSA to reimburse me for them. So for concealer, I'll probably be using this Color Science Total Eye. I think they reimbursed me for this, but I had also purchased the Dermatology kind of dupe for it, and I don't know if I was successful in getting this reimbursed, so it may be something worth exploring if you do have an FSA, and if you're not in the US or, like my husband, have no idea how it works. Basically, it's through your employer, through your healthcare. It's where you elect a certain amount up to, I think, like about 3,000 is the max that you can do, where it takes it out of your paycheck pre-tax, and then you can use that money for prescriptions, for co-pays, for like contact lenses, glasses, anything like that, even acne products, hand sanitizer. So there's kind of a list of approved uses, but whoever is processing your claim on the given day thinks that this is a cosmetic item versus sunscreen, they might not go for it. Okay, so you just saw that I sprayed my face with a moisturizing spray. Like I said, I did do my skincare quite a while ago, but I did want to see what happens if I actually use the recommended amount for face sunscreen. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon. The actual, I think, scientific calculation is, I think it's like 2 milligrams per, I just had it written down here. One person I will mention, Lab Muffin Beauty Science. She is a cosmetic chemist and does a lot of really great sunscreen videos. And I think she's Australian as well, so they take their sunscreen pretty seriously. But yeah, 2, I think, milligrams per square centimeter is how much you need to apply to get the SPF on the label. And using a 1/4 teaspoon is just kind of an approximation, but it's kind of the best that I will be able to do. Okay, so this is what the bottle looks like. It does have a cap and then a dropper. And the goal here is to dispense enough product. So I'm filming at night, so this is more just kind of an experiment more than anything else. I just really want to see. Most people will recommend, when they're reviewing products like this, which I agree with, that you should not rely on this type of product. I think that's just about right before I spill. You should not rely on this type of product for your sun protection. You should, I'm just kind of gently, just so I get most of it. You should use a sunscreen underneath, but if I have to, I guess, I don't know if I'm going to be able to use enough, honestly. But this is just kind of demonstration purposes. And this is the shade 01 Ivory, I believe I said. This is the lightest shade. And I think there's really no way this is going to work. And conceivably, this was a product that I thought maybe it would work, but I just don't think it will. The other products like the blush, obviously you're not applying all over your face. The bronzer you might apply all over your face, but it's highly unlikely that, again, you'll be applying enough. Even if you're mixing it in with this product, if you're mixing it in with like a moisturizer, I think that will diminish the coverage, the SPF coverage. I guess the good thing about having it in a dropper bottle is that I can kind of pour it back in. But as I understand it, you can't, like, layering SPFs, they don't like add, you know what I mean? Like, you can't get to 50 by adding to 25 SPF products. I think it's whatever the highest one is that's kind of what you're left with. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, so I wasn't sure before I decided to attempt a full application of this product. I'd say it does feel pretty good on basically bare skin. I might have to go over this with a sponge because I feel like it's looking a little bit kind of caked up. Let me take a picture here of, get my phone all dirty, of how much I have left in this 1/4 teaspoon. So you saw I just kind of dipped my finger in a few times, and that was plenty. So before I go grab a sponge, I'm just going to try to pour this back in. But what I was alluding to earlier with the reel, apparently she did a, I don't know, collaboration with a hotel in New York where guests of the hotel could order basically a curated set that she did with one of her products, but also other products from other brands that she likes. So I think she included one of her blush shades, so I was able to get most of it back in there. Yeah, so she included one of her blush shades, but she didn't include this product or another kind of, I guess, shade-specific product like it. But she did include a new SPF from Caudalie. So if you wanted to know what sunscreen she likes and might, I guess, layer underneath this tinted serum, you can look to that one from Caudalie. All right, so I just dampened a beauty blender just to, although it looks like it's kind of sunken in a little bit. There's actually maybe a few areas around my nose that I could perhaps kind of build up, but I'd say it's a decent shade match. Probably if I use closer to a kind of normal cosmetic amount. So I guess the good news is she did include or recommend a sunscreen in that reel that I mentioned. I did look on the Sephora website. I'm just going to use the e.l.f. Wow Brow. I don't think she has any brow products yet. So I did look at the product page on the Sephora website, and it doesn't say anywhere, it doesn't have like a disclaimer of you should layer this over an SPF because you won't use or be able to use the recommended amount or the necessary amount to get the SPF rating. An SPF 50 is quite high as well. So the danger is that people will rely on that, but you saw how much I used. I didn't use anywhere near enough product to get the SPF 50 protection. So you should really be layering it, and I think calling it, this is the Rare Beauty Brow Gel, calling it a tinted serum, typically you put serums on before moisturizer and sunscreen, but you put colored cosmetics on after. Usually they follow your sunscreen, so I think the danger is, and it really does bear repeating, that people will think that they're getting their SPF protection, especially in this product, maybe even with this one, when they're really not. So I would very much like to see Ciele make that a little bit more apparent. For some products like the Sculpting Stick that I have in the shade Light, or the blushes, it's maybe a little bit more obvious. And I do think it's admirable to include SPF in cosmetics, and especially, as I'll talk about in a moment, I have all the e.l.f. Sunboss Glosses that I'll try on later. In areas like that where it's more difficult to apply sunscreen, or there are just fewer products, especially mineral-based products in that category, any additional protection is great because you're not like substituting it, if that makes sense. So anyway, this is the Sculpt and Protect SPF 30. Interesting that this one only got an SPF 30 rating. I'm assuming it's because they couldn't make the formula so that they could get the SPF 50 rating, and this is not, okay. Took a minute to kind of roll it up. It's not the most kind of amazing packaging, but I think it does the job. On the whole, I do like this kind of really dark green that they went with for their packaging. I think it's really pretty, and it's a little bit different, but still very sophisticated. Okay, so from what I've seen, let's swatch this on the hand. That is the shade. So on me, it's looking fairly warm. So I don't know if this would actually work well for me as a sculpting product, but I'll start by swiping it on. It's not, that was not remotely even. It's not like the most kind of emollient, but it's not bad. I'll do some kind of down the nose, and I might do some just along the jaw here. So just so you can see kind of the level of coverage I got from that Tinted Serum. There is, I guess, some benefit to having blemishes when you are reviewing a complexion product. I'm not sure that this is going down. If I push it, it does, but yeah, this component is not maybe the most sophisticated, but anyway. To blend it out, I'll use the Rougher B04. This is their new version of their synthetic foundation brush, and seems to blend the product pretty well. I do have, you can see where it's kind of caked around my nose a little bit. And I haven't applied a concealer product. I don't know that I really need to necessarily. This is the little A506 brush. Yeah, it's, I don't know, it's caking up a little bit, and I feel like I'm kind of removing it as I'm trying to blend it. I mentioned the Dermatology. I guess I'll go ahead and use this one. I've been kind of using them interchangeably. This one has an SPF of 41. Again, I'm not really, I guess, trying to use enough of this product to necessarily get that SPF rating. It's another category of, like lips, any extra sun protection is welcome. So this or the Color Science is normally what I keep in my bathroom, just kind of as a quick little bit of coverage, brightening when I'm running out the door and I'm not doing kind of full makeup, because it does have that SPF. And I do usually wear sunglasses, so this area underneath my eyes is most likely going to be protected by my sunglasses, so I don't really need a lot of dedicated sun protection there. Again, assuming I'm wearing sunglasses, but as you can see, I'm very fair, so any extra sun protection is welcome. And I know Nikki LaRose did, I think she did like an SPF makeup video or a Ciele focus video, and she had found kind of a dupe for these, or really this one, I guess, on Amazon. I believe it's an Indian brand that they sell on Amazon, and I forget the name of it. It's like Kaida. They have a lot of dupes for different brands like Dior, Hourglass. I thought about doing a dedicated video, but I just, in the end, wasn't really quite sure whether I wanted to invest in that. But if you did want to try out a product like this, they do have a dupe for it that's, I think, under $10. Okay, so this is the, did I already remove the swatch? Okay, let's go ahead and compare. So that's the Bronzing Sculpting Stick. And again, it doesn't really like to go down, but you can kind of push it down. And this is the Bronzing Drops. And one kind of annoying thing about the Sephora website is it's quite difficult. See, this is actually more cool toned, isn't it? It's a little difficult to tell which shade you're buying. So I just bought the one on the left, and it was in fact shade 1, but it does come in 2 different shades. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a little bit on my hand, and I guess I can use the same brush. I don't know. I'm trying to not pick up too much because I've heard a little bit goes a long way. So let's see what happens. Again, I'm putting this more in the kind of bronzery position, if you will. So blend it out nicely. Let's see what happens. I think I want a smaller brush though. I'll do the BK 109 and maybe pick it up a little bit on the brush. I'm just using my hand as a palette here. So far, I think I like this more than the Sculpting and Contour Stick, because you can see that definitely applied more. If I am going to go through the motions of contouring, I want it to actually contour and not bronze. So if you are near my skin tone, you might enjoy this bronzing product more than the stick. And I might need to kind of go over that a little bit just to soften it. But yeah, I think if you want the softest application, maybe just dotting on a tiny bit. You can also blend this in with the Tinted Serum to kind of tweak the shade of either product, I guess. Or, like I said, you can mix it in with the moisturizer. You can use it kind of all over. I have not really explored bronzing drops because on the whole, they just seem like they're going to be too warm and too shimmery in some cases for my preference. So it's not really a category that I have great experience with. I just put a tiny bit more. I might go over my sponge. I still have to apply blush as well. I'll do a quick comparison of the Mario kind of liquid bronzer. I feel like that kind of ate up a lot of the coverage of the bronzer. The good news is when you're just kind of working with creams and liquids, you can kind of finesse things until you get them right. I think powders are a little bit harder to manipulate. So I do have a dedicated video of the Mario and the Say bronzers, the liquid bronzers. And I think since I filmed that video, I did actually find a good use case for this, which is one day I was doing my makeup and I think either I applied too much bronzer on my face or the foundation was just maybe not the best match. So I actually applied this to my neck, the Mario product, and because it's so sheer, it did a really nice job of kind of blending my face into my neck without then having another demarcation between my neck and my chest. So that was actually a nice, fortuitous kind of discovery. Yeah, so you can see the Ciele is going to be a lot more pigmented. There's a lot more kind of heft to it as well. So I don't think you could use the Ciele in quite the same way. The Mario is nice because it does have the pump option, so you're able to kind of get a lot out. And then I just used a big, I might have used this one from BK, the 105, just to kind of cover a lot of surface area. With this one, I think it would be better to mix it in with a moisturizer or body lotion, and then use it that way. I think that would probably be more successful. It does have expiration dates on the package, which I do appreciate. You might have to with SPF products. It's never been quite clear to me, especially with mineral SPFs, but this one says January of 2026. This one says May of 2026. So that's a nice little discovery. But you do get 1 ounce of this and 1 ounce, I believe, of the Mario. So you're getting the same amount of product, and this is more concentrated, so it will go farther. So if you did want to do broader kind of bronzing applications on your body, you might get more bang for your buck out of this. I think the Mario does have more shades and that kind of thing, but anyway. Okay, so next up, going in, oh, I wanted to do some bronzing on my forehead and I completely forgot. It's a good thing you get so much product because I feel like with swatches and everything, I tend to kind of waste a lot of product and also misplace my mirror. Okay, so I just put a tiny amount on the back of my hand and just going to dot some of this on. And then use this brush. Yeah, I think it's a little bit easier to control if you just dot it on, control the amount. And I think it blends in pretty nicely too. So I think what I was saying, like with the Mario, I can even take maybe a little bit more. When I reviewed the Mario, like I said, I have discovered another use case for it, but it was the kind of thing where it just felt like there wasn't enough there to kind of justify having the product at all. Especially when he has things like the skin enhancer, which give you a really nice kind of natural bronze look without a lot of effort. So I think on me that looks pretty natural. Whether the 2 shades are really enough, I guess if you do have a deeper complexion, you could just build it up and not sheer it out as much. I can only give you my thoughts based on my experience and my face. So okay, now going on to the blush. So this is SPF 50 and I got it in the shade Behati. I think she included Elodie in that little kit. But this just has that kind of paddle applicator, and I think what I've seen is just like 3 little dots, and then I'm just going to use the same little brush and blend that out. So it is pretty. I do have some of the e.l.f. camo blushes to compare it to, and this shade is definitely kind of on the lighter, more muted side, which is generally what I go for. It's not going to be a super poppy blush shade, but she has expanded. I think I went in a little bit heavier on this one. She has expanded the shade range over time. So, all right, let me just put a tad bit more on this side. I think honestly, when I'm just trying to get out the door, I still find liquid blushes to be a little bit fussy. So I don't know. That just may be a personal preference type thing. but it is pretty. Okay, so this is the shade Bahati, like I mentioned, and I do have a few shades of the e.l.f. Camo Blush in case you want a similar look at the e.l.f. price point. This is the shade Peach Perfect. Definitely lighter and peachier. So many brands, it's just like the bronzing drops. Like once something becomes trendy, it just seems like all the brands just start doing it. So the good news is if you were interested in a product like this, you don't necessarily have to shell out for their version, Ciele's version. Again, because if you're looking at the SPF as being a selling point, it's not really. Okay, so this one I'll put down here. This one is Soft Mauve, I think it is. So that one is definitely darker. And then the last one I have that might be similar is Dusty Rose. And that one definitely has more pink in it. So none of them are quite as neutral as the Bahati shade. But once you blend them out on your cheek, especially the rose and the peach shades, I'm not sure how much of a difference you're really going to see. So let's go into their powder. So I have tried this before. This is SPF 30 again, which is interesting. I have it in the shade 01. So interesting component. You can see I have my fingerprints on it. It's been a while since I've used this, but I don't remember loving it. Again, I do like that color of their packaging though. So it comes with a little puff. I don't love, it has a weird smell to it. Kind of smells sour. Hold on. Let me double check. I didn't notice a smell with any of the other products. This one expires in July of 25. So it's not expired and it's a powder anyway. So it's not as like susceptible to going bad. So it has a little mesh like so, and I will set underneath my eyes. And the reason I don't like loose powder is I just feel like it always just ends up making a mess. Okay, so yeah, and this weird smell to it. So just kind of lightly setting under the eyes. And then I'll switch to a larger, kind of fluffier brush. This is the BK103. It does fit pretty nicely, but then I just end up getting uneven powder. So as you saw, I do tend to get a little shiny in the forehead. Again, like it's just, where's the cap? Try and get some more even application here. Yeah, I don't like this powder. Yeah, I remember it being a little bit too mattifying as well. I didn't start off with a super kind of glowy hydrated base. I mean, it looks decent on the skin, but I think, should I powder that side of the forehead? I don't know. I think there are better options on the market. And even if you want one that has SPF, I can't pretend that I've done like a thorough investigation, but I'm pretty sure there are mineral SPF powders out there that you can buy. So they're kind of marketed first as sunscreen and then powder. And again, it's hard to know whether you're getting the right amount of product applied to get the SPF, but if you're just viewing it as either possibly touch-ups or just like every little bit helps kind of thing, then I don't see why not. Okay, so I think I'm going to do my eyes off camera just for the purposes of time. I do have the Natasha Denona Mini Rose that just came in, so I think I'll do an eye look with this, and then I'll probably do another little dedicated video about this palette, as I mentioned in my Instagram. So I'll just do a quick look with this, and I'll be right back. All right, so eyes are done. I used all of the shades in this little palette. I used this shade all over the lid and then underneath the lower lash line. I used this shade here in the crease and a little bit of this one in the outer crease V area. And then I used this shade all over the lid and the pink sparkly one kind of tapped over. So yeah, interesting little quint here. I might have to do kind of a comparison side by side using these two shades because they are from the retro palette, but they are in a new formula in this little guy. In the original retro palette, they are cream to powders, and these are mattes. So interesting release for her, especially at this time. To me, it reads very spring, but we'll go with it. So like I said, I did want to talk about these e.l.f. glosses. I know In Beauty Project has also released some SPF glosses not too long ago. Those look interesting. They might actually be a higher SPF. These are SPF 25. The thing I like about these e.l.f. ones though, which is not something you can typically say for drugstore products, is that they went with pretty muted colors, which I actually like. I think works well for me anyway. And I have enjoyed using these. So I've kind of thrown them in my bag and worn them out and that kind of thing. All right, so no particular order. I did include swatches on my Instagram, but I did want to do some lip swatches as well. So this one is, oh gosh, it's way too small on this. So this one is It's Your Mauve, and it has that kind of doe foot. It's a pretty, how do I phrase it? It's not a runny formula at all. It's pretty, like, it's gonna stay kind of where you put it kind of thing. It's like tacky enough that, again, it stays where you put it, and I guess you can build it up a little bit, but it's not like the Give lip gels or whatever they're called. So I like these. So this one is It's Your Mauve. Could definitely pair this with a lip liner if you wanted. And again, just kind of showing how opaque you can make it. So maybe at this level it would be enough. I kind of doubt it. But as I said, it's very difficult to find SPF lip products, especially mineral ones. So it is nice to have them, especially in a gloss form, because you don't have to worry about them melting. All right, so I'll just kind of speed through the rest of them. The next one is Pink Me Girl. And the next up is Blush Much. All right, and then next up we have Peachy Queen. And then the last one here is That's My Jam. Okay, so that's the last one, That's My Jam, and I think all of them are pretty good in terms of like not settling into lip lines, either like the dark ones with pigment or the lighter ones with that kind of milky quality you get sometimes. They do have, I think it's described as a coconut scent. Yeah, tropical coconut scent. I guess I smell something kind of sweet, but if you're not a big coconut fan, I don't know that you would really find it objectionable. Seems like a fragrance you find in a lot of things, I guess is what I'm saying. I guess kind of like the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip products, like these guys. So if you don't like this scent, you might not like the e.l.f. one. So yeah, so I really do like them. I think as far as downsides, you may want a mirror to apply these, especially if you're going to try to build up the color, or if you're going with a darker color or one that's more distinct from your skin tone, I guess. But yeah, I think they're definitely worth giving a shot. So highly recommend the e.l.f. products. As far as the Ciele products, like I think my finished makeup look is pretty good, if I do say so myself. So I think in terms of judging a brand's products when used together, because ideally a brand's products should all kind of work together for the most part, I'd say the powder is definitely a skip for me because it has that really weird smell that's not very pleasant. The skin tint is fine. I just don't know if it's worth going out of your way for. I think the bronzing concentrate and the liquid blush may be my favorite products out of the bunch, but they're types of products that so many brands make these days. So as you can maybe tell, I have very mixed feelings. I think this sculpting stick, I would pass. It's not cool enough to act as a sculpting stick in my opinion, so I would pass on that. I would pass on the powder. This I'm just kind of so-so on. And yeah, they're two cheap products. Like I said, they are products that are most widely replicated, and they're also products that you're least likely to get kind of an SPF benefit from. So take that for what you will. I don't think all of the products are terrible. I think it's a worthy goal to make sunscreen more accessible and to incorporate it more into your routine. I'd love to see them come out with some lip products. I think that's definitely an area where they're missing, and it's an area where there is more of a gap, I think, in the market. So as Hannah Louise Poston used to say, I will follow their future career with great interest, but as far as the product offerings at this time, I guess their whole raison d'etre of having SPF in their products, I'm not totally convinced. So before I ramble on anymore, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.